You must have heard about Manyavar from this ad. It's come a long way since then, making 1,000 crores in revenues in 2022. Rising from zero around immense competition, they captured a massive chunk of India's 4 lakh crore wedding market. But here's the surprising bit. India has had a massively unorganized wedding industry. And people thought building a brand in this space was impossible. So if there's ever a growth strategy that you need to study to understand brand building in the D2C space and growing profitably, it's this one. And Manyavar's strategy revolves around a 5-part framework. A framework that led to them beating massive giants like Raymond, Fab India, retail stores and capturing 40% of India's market share. And it starts with the first step, their insight into the Indian wedding market. See, weddings in India are an aspirational affair. We know this. It's built into the culture. About 1 crore weddings take place in India every year. Considering an average spend of 10 lakhs per wedding, Indians will spend 10 lakh crores on weddings annually. Now, 15% of that is spent on apparels, making apparels itself a 1.5 lakh crore market. Here, 1.3 lakh crores belongs to the women's space and only about 20,000 crores belongs to the men's category. See, most apparel brands wanted to stay away from seasonal audiences like wedding apparels. So they either cater to daily wear, where the frequency was high, or one-time wear, which was premium and the frequency of wearing it was low. But Manyavar saw a massive white space here. They knew they will double down on weddings for 2 reasons. First, the large unorganized sector that dominated it, and second, India's need to signal. India is a signaling first society. The emotion attached to signalings and weddings is super high. Think about it. All the grand decorations, clothing, venues are just to do one thing: signal to relatives and move up the social hierarchy. And this emotion of weddings as aspirational events and signaling allows everyone in the wedding industry to charge super high margins. This is where Manyavar wanted to distinguish from all other fashion brands. With wedding being the core market, they control margins of 70 to 75%, which other apparel makers just cannot. So with the right market in their eye, Manyavar dug deep with insight into their core customer, which are brides. See, it's not a coincidence that more than 80% of the apparel market belongs to women clothing. You have to admit, in India, weddings revolve around the bride's choice. They decide the theme and styling for clothes for the couple plus their guests. Manyavar, in a genius move, decided to hyper-focus on the bridal collections first. The idea was simple: convert the brides first and then unleash cross-selling. See, there are multiple ways to increase your average order value, and cross-selling and upselling are big parts of it. And Manyavar nails it by convincing the bride of quality and design first, knowing that if brides are convinced, they will make sure that their groom and families match their theme. And who do they come to for all of these requirements? Manyavar. Even their website homepage also this. It's tough to track if you're a bride, groom or a guest shopping on their website. So it asks you straight on the homepage. This is brilliant and SaaS companies have done it for a long time. If you're solving for something similar in your product, the actionable item here is to think about different types of users that you have and make separate journeys that are the most relevant for them. Now that Manyavar knows that brides are their core ICP, the big question is, why would brides want to choose Manyavar in the first place and not go through the traditional family recommendation route? This is where the Manyavar brand comes in. See, Manyavar knew from the beginning that the Indian wedding market revolves around aspiration. It's a market where people want to spend more money. Because as we discussed, the core reason behind doing that is signaling. And as we talked about it, India is a very signaling-centric society. So showing off wealth to relatives always takes the center stage, which is where they plugged in the best and the most relatable celebrity endorsers they could find. Partnering with Virat and Anushka was massive, given all the sensation behind their dating rumors and eventually their marriage. Think about it, when they did get married, which photos went viral before their wedding photos were released? The Mohe bridal category with Alia Bhatt and the groom and guest category with Ranveer Singh shows the broader idea here. All of them solid Bollywood aspirational stars. But this was not the only brand lever. They also had to solve for strong brand recall. See, in India, the wedding purchase cycle is super short, and any brand needs to be discovered during that short span of time. This is where creating an aspirational brand really kicks in because it allows them to solve for future demand easily. Think about it yourself. How many brands pop up in your head when I say weddings? Manyavar surely does. Next, they solved the beast for any D2C brand. Offline plus online distribution. See, none of this branding, market, user would matter if people can't really touch and feel their wedding apparels. And this is where Manyavar cracked offline distribution. The Manyavar leadership soon realized that focusing on a boringly predictable franchisee-owned and franchisee-operated model would allow it to open offline stores quicker and at a massive scale. The active call to not get into full-stack operations was the key to scaling offline distribution with a small corporate team. But there's another nuance to having an offline-heavy presence. See, the price point that Manyavar has of up to 75,000 rupees restricts the kind of customers they can convert. Almost always, the discovery for such high-value purchases will begin online. But the brand focuses on online search intent via channels like Google search and makes sure it has the highest impression share there. But they don't want them to convert right away, by the way. Manyavar understood the importance of the touch and feel nature of purchases around wedding apparels. Think of all the aunties and uncles who don't really trust online brands but are massive influencers in wedding apparels and clothes. They want to be treated well in a large clothing showroom where they spend hours going through sarees and suits. Offline stores enabled Manyavar to keep the traditional Indian culture there while changing the way Indians bought their wedding apparels forever. And offline stores enable them to do this massively. Now imagine how similar this is to Lenskart. While you may be okay with scouting for price and styling on Lenskart's web store, you'll probably end up either going to their offline store or booking an eye checkup offline. But the only difference here is that you will probably buy 10 Lenskart frames a year, but only one wedding lehenga in your lifetime. So cracking offline was crucial, and Manyavar did it brilliantly.